Come on, keep it going. Why'd you stop? Why'd you guys stop? Keep it. All right, keep it going. Keep it going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. No, don't stop. All right, now you can stop. Okay, now you can do it again. Let's do it.
Nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more round of applause. Come on, he's a legend here.
Just want to make sure I'm sitting in the right seat.
Oh yeah, we got to make sure of that,
Yeah.
huh?
Hi, everybody. Does woo mean hello? That's cool. I love that.
Thank you for joining me today.
Sure.
And I'm going to have to live up to the hype that was shortly before you came in. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions, and at some point, we're probably just going to ramble.
Great.
All right.
And if you guys have questions, get them ready.
Yes,
We can
because
discuss
you
some
guys
things.
are going to be coming up.
There
All
are
right.
no off-topic things. We can talk about it if you want.
I'm going to start out with this because I'm curious about your work. What originally got you into voice acting?
My very first talent agent, as a
Really?
matter of fact. Yeah. I grew up in an acting family, so I don't know if you all have like businesses that your family does and you just kind of grow up into them naturally. My family was into acting. My dad was a director, my mom was an actress, my brother was an actor, and so being the little brother, I just did what the family did. And I was doing shows since I was 5 years old or however old I was, and I just kind of kept going with it. It
Okay.
never stopped. Everyone else kind of went into other things, and I just kept doing it because I loved it. And I went through elementary school, middle school, high school, college, got my theater degree from Eastern Michigan University, moved out to California after college like some actors do, and signed with my very first talent agent. Her name was Carol Shaman Freitas. Great name. And she said to me one day, she said, "Do you ever think about doing voiceover?" And I said, "No." And she said, "You should." And so she started, because agents, I don't know if you know how agents work, but they actually make 10% of everything that you make. So if they send you out for something, you make $1,000, they get 100 of that 1,000. And so, I wish it was 100,000. Anyway, so she was just like, "I'm gonna send you out, let's see what happens." So she sent me out for 5 auditions in that first week. Now normally in the acting business, the ratio is that for every 1 yes you get 50 no's. So that's a 50-to-1 ratio. It's still true to this day, even probably more so. And the fact of the matter is that those first 5 auditions she sent me on, I booked all 5 of them. And that's not to say that I was awesome at it to begin with. I like to think I was, but I know I wasn't. But the thing is that just like any other entertainment thing, things go in waves, and they look for certain types at certain times. And she said, "This is your time. They're looking for you right now. You have to keep doing this." Of course, she's making 10% of everything I make, so of course she would say that. But so she was like, keep doing it, keep doing it. So that's what I did for the 3 years before I was the, oh, here comes security. I didn't do it. I barely touched it.
Who did it?
3 years of doing radio commercials and television commercials and other video games and so forth, and then the audition for Sonic came up and changed everything.
So were you aware of Sonic before you took that role?
Yes, I was, but I can't front and pretend like I was a huge fan or anything. I did not have any consoles at that time. I'm going to date myself terribly. I grew up playing the Atari 2600, and that was the first, thank you, all the silver hair in the room was like, yeah! That was the thing I grew up playing, and I never got anything else until I started working for Sega, and then they gave me a Dreamcast.
Oh,
but
dude.
until that point, I didn't have any home consoles that I could play on. I was an arcade kid. As most of us were in the 80s. And so that's what I grew up doing. And of course, I knew who Sonic was.
Yeah.
Everyone did. It's like Ronald McDonald. It's like everyone knows who Sonic is. But I didn't really know anything about him.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think, and this is just me playing Tuesday night quarterback, but I think not knowing too much about Sonic actually helped me.
Yeah.
Because they had us create the voice of Sonic at the audition. I don't know if you know this story, but the audition... Usually when you audition for a voice acting job, they give you a lot of information. They give you a backstory, you know what the character has in his pocket. I mean, it's just a ridiculous amount of information that you could never use all of it. But they usually have it all mapped out. They give you what are called touchstones, which is if they want you to sound like a celebrity voice or a voice that everybody knows, like sound like Alec Baldwin, then they throw that in there. Sega didn't do any of that. They didn't give us any information at all. All they did was tape a picture of Sonic on the wall inside the vocal booth. That was it. And so I was at the audition, me and about 50 guys, and each guy is being called into the booth one at a time, and he's in there for about 2 minutes, and then he leaves. And then they call the next guy in, 2 minutes, and he leaves. And I'm just like, I don't know what's going on in there, but I guess I'll find out soon enough. And I thought, well, they'll tell me what they want when I get in there. So I walk into the booth. You didn't think the story was going to be this long, did you?
No, you're fine, man.
So I walk into the booth, and there's a music stand there with a piece of paper on it. It has 20 lines written on it. And the first line says, pick up all the gold rings and get a free life. It's a weird line. These are called dummy lines. They are vaguely like the character, vaguely like the project, the franchise, but they're not copywritten. They're not going to get in any trouble using them. So they gave me these dummy lines. That's what the first line said. Pick up all the gold rings and get a free life. So I went in and I put on the headphones. And I'm like, they're going to coach me at some point. The engineer came on, and this is exactly what he said. I remember it like it was yesterday. He said, okay, do you see that picture of Sonic on the wall? And I said, yep, looking at it right now. And he said, great. If you could imagine a voice coming out of that hedgehog, what would it sound like? Line 1, ready, go. And I froze for a second because I was like, did he just say go? Like, go? What? And so I looked at the picture, and luckily I'm a visual learner. I'm not an auditory or kinesthetic learner. I am a visual guy. So I looked at the picture, I looked at the first line, and I said,
Pick up all the gold rings and get a free life.
and the engineer said, yeah, I like that. I like that. Do the rest of the lines just like that. And so I read all those 19 lines. He said, great job. Thanks. Take care. And I left. 2 weeks later, my agent calls up, and then she said, Sega wants you to be the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog. And they want you to use that voice that you came up with because they really like it. And I was like, should I tell her? I literally came up with it in 1.5 seconds. After the guy said line 1, ready, go, and I looked at the picture and I just went,
Blah!
But the funny is that voice that I came up with in that little 1.5 second space is the voice that I've been using for the last 28 years for the Blue Blur. And I feel like if I had known about Sonic, if I had all this backstory, if I had all this information, I might have gotten paralysis from analysis, done a completely different voice, and Sega would have been like, good job, thanks, bye. And I never would have heard from them again, like what happened to the other 49 guys at that audition that night. I don't know who they are. I don't know a single other person. I know there was a bunch of guys there. I don't know any of them. But a bunch of guys are out there saying, I auditioned for Sonic the Hedgehog. I didn't get it, but I auditioned for it. Great story. But yeah, that's how it all started.
So pretty much essentially you went in there, did that, and then throughout that process you kind of developed this Sonic has attitude.
Yes.
You gave that flair to Sonic. Where did that come from as well? Just giving him that little edge.
Well, that is partially their fault because after I got the job, that's when they decided to give me some information after they'd already booked me. And they really said 4 words. This was the mantra in the early days. They said, cool, blue, rebellious teenager. That's all they said. And no matter what we did, they were like, cool, blue, rebellious teenager. And so that became the tattoo in that I heard over and over again. And so from those 4 words and just seeing what he was like as a character, that was just kind of how the voice went into that kind of attitude. And he is kind of snarky at times. He's a little full of himself at times. He's also happy to crack a joke in a high-pressure situation. I always joke that I would like to think that I'd be like that. I'd like to be like Sonic in that way. Like if my house was burning down, I would go, where do we keep the marshmallows? Probably wouldn't, but Sonic would. He would totally do that. So,
it's obvious to me. You have like a very deep voice. And I'm curious, how did you do it? Like, honestly, was it just like, you say it came to your head, but was that like a talent that you knew that you had already?
I'm going to borrow a phrase from the great Devin Townsend. When they say, Devin, how do you hit all those high notes when you have a regular guy's voice? He says, well, I just do them over and over again until blood shoots out of my mouth, and then I can just do it after that. That's not exactly how it goes. I mean, every voice has range.
Yeah.
And also, as you can imagine, and maybe elders in your life have told you this, maybe you've told someone younger than you, practice makes perfect. You can practice anything for 28 years and get good at it. I have been practicing Sonic's voice for 28 years. That's what I can do. But no matter what it is, you can get good at it the more you practice. And the range comes with practice. This is all muscle in here, right? And so you work out the muscle. It's just like NBA players. They warm up before every game. They don't have to. They are tuned athletes, but they know what works for them. They know they're going to have a better game if they warm up. So you just keep doing your thing and don't stop. Don't take a day off. And then mathematically at some point, something will happen if you're interested in being a voice actor.
So you go into the recording booth to start voicing Sonic. As far as prep time goes, was it literally like on the spot, here's the script, just read them voice lines, or did you have a little bit of leeway?
I wish it were like that. They did not even give us a script.
Oh, no.
Yes, Sega had printed out all the lines that they wanted Sonic to say and gave that to me and put it in the booth and said, say these things, thanks. And we didn't know in that first game, Sonic Adventure, we didn't know who we were talking to. We didn't know why we were saying the line. We didn't know how we felt about it. We didn't know if the character you were talking to was standing next to you or across a room. We had absolutely no context. And that is why, when you play through that game, you go, that's why it's janky. That's why the audio doesn't quite match the video, right? Now it's kind of adorable, I hope. But yeah, it was not a lot of information to go on in that first game. Things definitely got better. 6 years later, when we're recording Sonic Heroes, we had full scripts. We had scratch animation to look at. We knew exactly what the scene was going to look like. We just didn't have that in the early days. It was just like, say the words in your voice thing. And you're like, okay. And we'll edit it together. Like, all right.
That's the worst.
Sounds like a winning recipe for a great game.
Oh, man.
But it turns out that it was. I don't know if you guys know what a big hit that Sonic Adventure was. But at the time, this was right around the time that Star Wars The Phantom Menace came out.
Oh, no.
And this is kind of how media was. For those of you who were alive back then, you know that they didn't really report on video games the way they do now. Now video games are part of a business model. And they have expanded those business models. So anytime you see a movie, you can bet that there's a video game that goes along with it. There's a commercial tie-in. There are toys and McDonald's Happy Meals about it. There's all kinds of things that they've planned out. They didn't have those plans back in the day. And so, what was I talking about? I talked about McDonald's, and all of a sudden, I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm kind of hungry.
Yeah. Phantom Menace, thank you. And so when Phantom Menace came out, all the media could talk about was how record-setting Star Wars The Phantom Menace was. It made $28 million in one day. And they kept saying it over and over again on Entertainment Tonight and TMZ or whatever it was at the time. They were like, $28 million in one day. Can you believe Star Wars The Phantom Menace? Crazy. Quietly, behind the scenes, people were buying the heck out of Dreamcasts and Sonic Adventure. Sonic Adventure made $42 million on the first day.
Oh, come on.
Thank you, right?
Come on.
That's us. We did that. Yeah. But they never talked about it. Now, believe you me, they were counting all that money at Sega. They knew about it. But the media didn't report on things like that. Now they do, but back then they didn't. So Sonic Adventure was such a huge hit. Dreamcast was such a huge hit in that first year. Sega was just on top of the mountain. Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to move on a little bit to Sonic Adventure 2.
I'm going to drink more blood.
Oh, dude. That sounds great. So
good.
you obviously voice Sonic in that game.
Yes.
But you also have a minor role. Shadow.
Oh.
You did voice a couple of lines for Shadow. How did you differentiate that for those few lines from Sonic?
Yeah, that was actually at the end of Sonic Adventure 2. For those of you who don't know, I actually am Shadow for 3 lines. And you think, oh, that's kind of cool that they did that. They didn't do that. It's because Sega is cheap. So here's what happened. Real story, real quick. So what they did was, for Sonic Adventure 2, they recorded things sequentially, which never happens. But they started at the beginning of the game, and they worked their way through the game, and the last line of the game was the last line that you recorded. So on David Humphrey, the original voice of Shadow, on his last day, David and I have been friends for years before we worked on the games together. And so he walks out of the studio. I saw him in the parking lot that day because I was coming in to do more Sonic lines. And he was finishing his role as Shadow the Hedgehog. So he's walking out into the parking lot, and I saw him. I said, "Hey, David." And he was like, "Hey." I said, "How was your session?" He was like, "It was great." He was like, "Oh, do you think this game's going to be good?" "Oh, yeah, it's going to be great. That's cool. All right, man, I got to go sing." "Okay, have a good day. See you later, David. Bye." And he drives off. I walk into the studio, and the first thing they say to me, they don't even say hi. They say, "Did David leave?" I said, "Yeah, I just watched him drive away." And they were like, "Ah, we forgot 3 lines." And I was like, bummer, you know. I was just like, I just assumed what anyone else would assume. They'll call him back in tomorrow or the next day and record these 3 lines. But how this works in union rules is that the minimum that you can hire a voice actor is 1 full day. And 1 full day in 2000 or 2001, whenever it was approximately $800. So multi-zillion-dollar Sega said, we don't want to spend $800 to get 3 lines out of that guy. So they looked at me and said, "Can you imitate him for 3 lines?" No one will ever know. No one will ever know. And so I was like, sure, I'll give it a shot. So they played me what he had done that day, and I got into my best Shadow, or whatever he sounds like, and I was just like, sure, I'll give it a shot. And so so Shadow kind of becomes me for 3 lines in the final battle of SA2. And it's funny because they assured me no one will ever know, and now there are whole YouTube videos about it. I get asked that question, "Did you really do Shadow's voice?" Everybody knows it now, so funny.
So I didn't know it.
Right on. Yay.
I was working with my roommate. Shout out to him. He's a huge fan of these games. He helped me work through a lot of these questions. We both stared at that, and I was like, wait, he was Shadow? No, he wasn't, because this guy was Shadow when we're trying to put the pieces together. And I'm like, okay, we need to really look this up. Oh, it was only for a couple of lines. I'm like, but he was Shadow, and I really am curious what happened.
Yes, that's exactly it. Just Sega was too cheap to bring David Humphrey in, so they had me do it.
Thanks, Sega.
I can say nice things about Sega too, but I'll throw some dirt too.
Oh, you have to. You have to. All right. Did you find... Oh, hold on one sec. Okay. This is easier. There we go. Did you find it challenging to voice both Sonic and Metal Sonic in the same game?
No, because they were recorded on different days.
Oh, there you go.
Which is not unusual in the voiceover world. For those of you who don't know this, editing is a huge part of voiceover. In fact, there's this story, and I've been telling it for years. I should really look it up to see if it's true. But it actually doesn't matter if it's true, because this is totally possible and very reliable. Apparently, do you guys remember the movie Shrek? Okay.
Yeah.
So everybody knows that Mike Myers was Shrek and Eddie Murphy was Donkey. Allegedly, apparently, the first time that Mike Myers and Eddie Murphy met was at the premiere of the movie at Grauman's Chinese Theater in Los Angeles. And you watch that movie and you go, there's no way. They're like in the same room. They're like riffing off each other. And nope. They edit all that together. In fact, there are some people in the Sonic franchise that have been friends of mine for over 30 years, like Scott Dreyer, the voice of Knuckles, David Humphrey, the voice of Shadow. There are a few people that I have never met, and we've been in these games for a long, long time. For example, Jennifer Douillard, who plays the voice of Amy Rose. She's my girlfriend in a couple games. I have never met her. I don't know what she looks like. I don't know what she's like as a person. Great voice. I don't know. I don't know who she is. So yeah, so that's not uncommon in the voiceover world. Okay. So recording Sonic and Metal on 2 different days is kind of par for the course in the voiceover world.
Yeah.
You often have to do different voices in different, days or even hours for that matter. And I actually thought that was really cool. I'll say this one nice thing about Sega. They actually were the ones who were just like, this is actually an interesting thing. Like if Eggman created Metal Sonic in the vision of Sonic to defeat Sonic, and he's got all these attributes of Sonic, wouldn't that be cool if he also took the voice from Sonic and put it in his robot? And wouldn't that be cool if he stole you, Ryan, if he stole your voice and put it in to his robot? And we tweak it and turn the knobs and so it sounds metallic. But wouldn't that be cool if it was the same person? And I was like, hell yeah, it would. I want to be Metal. And so they let me be Metal for that reason, and I thought that was cool. And now Metal's about to have the biggest year of his whole entire metallic life, because as you know, he's going to be in the next movie. It's not me voicing him, but it's going to be great. Yeah, for all you Metal fans out there, your year is coming. March 2027, everything will change.
So, I like to ask this because I love comedy. What is one of the funniest things that happened during one of your recording sessions?
During the actual recording session?
Yeah.
Okay. Some of you might have heard this story already. So because Sonic Adventure was such a huge hit, they said, we can do anything. Let's put out Mario Party, but with Sonic, and call it Sonic Shuffle. And then it went, and then no one really bought it or liked it. But they were just like, okay, Sonic Adventure 2, that's going to be huge. So what they did, we recorded in Southern California. They flew a team of Japanese producers from Sega in Japan to sit in on all of the recording sessions for Sonic Adventure 2. And that was challenging because not only do you have 5 guys sitting on the other side of the glass going, watching you, critiquing every single thing you say, they also didn't speak any English. So they had one translator whose job was to listen to everything the producers had to say, translate it into English, and then give you the notes, and then you had to try to do whatever he said. And that was very challenging. And the one thing, since you're talking about comedy, the thing that cracked me up during those sessions was that at one point we had to do what's called emotives, which is usually like making sounds or grunts or damage or something like that, like ugh, ah, stuff like that. And there was the point where they were recording Sonic Climbs a Ladder. And so I'm doing what I think Sonic would sound like climbing a ladder. I'm using the Sonic voice and I'm going, yeah, 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 things like that. And they immediately, all 5 of them went, all the Japanese producers went, no, 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 no. Hiya, 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 And I was like, they are pulling my chain right now. Do they really want me to go hiya, And they're looking at me dead serious. I'm like, hiya, hiya, This is weird. I don't know. I don't want to do this. And luckily, our great director, the legendary Lonnie Manella, who you might know as the voice of Rouge the Bat, she was there in the studio for just this occasion. She was supposed to make sure that anytime they did anything too Japanese, she was supposed to jump in and say, we don't do that here in America. And luckily, she saved me. Before I could record any hiya-uhs, she said, in America, we do it the way he's doing it. He just goes, yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's how you get Sonic climbing a ladder. But I'll never forget them going, hiya-uh, hiya-uh. And I'm like, so yeah, that was a good moment.
Give me a second.
They did get Terry-ah. We gave them that. They can have Terry-ah, right?
Terry-ah!
Yeah. They can have that one.
Oh, God, I'm
But
dying.
no
I'm
hiya-uh.
dying. I'm dying.
I should get a shirt that says hiya-uh with a big circle and slash through it.
Dude, you should.
Yeah.
You should, absolutely.
I should. And then no one will know what that means. You know, to this day, I still have stuff I don't know about this franchise. I'm learning stuff every single show I go to. In fact, some of you will like this. Last weekend, I was in St. Petersburg, Florida, and this dude walked in with a T-shirt, and he says, I really want you to sign my T-shirt. And I was like, great. And I was like, do you have anything you in particular, a favorite line or something? And he was like, yeah, can you write Pingus on it? And I went, what? And he was like, Pingus. And so luckily, on speed dial on my phone, I have a friend of mine, who's an encyclopedia knowledge. She knows everything about Sonic and Pokemon, but she knows everything about Sonic, everything. Even the most obscure things she has. So I called her up real quick. I was like, give me a second. So I ran into the back and I called her and I said, Rachel, this dude wants me to write Pingus on his T-shirt. Like, should I do that? Is it like a white supremacist thing? What is that? I don't know what that is. Because it sounds vulgar. I don't want to put it on there. And she was like, it's fine. Go sign Pingus on the shirt. I'll send you all the information later. And sure enough, like in the next 2 hours, she sent me this whole dissertation in text with videos on YouTube about what Pingus is and blah, 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 blah. And yeah, so I always have Rachel in my back pocket in case I don't know something.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's so good.
And for those of you who don't know what Pingus is, just look it up.
I don't.
Well, Eggman says in the original cartoon, he says the line, snooping as usual I see. And they've edited out the sn and ooh, and then just says Pingus, snooping as usual. And Pingus has become some sort of weird meme where like they've used it in all of its glorious forms. But I didn't know any of that. I'd never heard that till last week. Now I'm saying Pingus all the time. I should get a Pingus T-shirt.
Yes. Dude, marketing right there.
I know.
Right
everything.
there.
I just want to put everything on a T-shirt.
Merchandising. So.
The Pingus line. New. Right, like what? Or maybe Sonic like doing this in a thought balloon that says Pingus?
That would be perfect.
Somebody who makes T-shirts here? Get on that. Yeah.
So,
You'll be a millionaire, or at least 100-aire.
So, how did you feel returning for Sonic? Dyslexic. Yeah, how did you feel returning for Sonic and Tails R from 2020 to 2024?
That was really fun. That was just a pandemic love letter to the Sonic franchise, headed by Emmy Jones and Dorian Nelson. They wrote all those scripts, and they called us all up. And it was cool because, like, I had never got a chance to work with Jason Griffith before that moment. It's like we've been friends for a long time, but we never worked together because we're always doing the same roles. So that was really fun. We just kind of got to – everyone did it from home. Sega gave their blessing for it. I get asked that a lot. Does Sega know that you did this Sonic and Tails R thing? Yes, they gave their blessing. They only had one stipulation because it's Sega, and they said you cannot make any money off of this. You cannot monetize it in any way because – free publicity for them and their franchise. So, of course, they want, sure, do all that. You just can't make any of our money. We must keep our gold close. So they were just like, yeah, do it. In fact, they were kind enough to give us Mike Pollock, the voice of Eggman. They were able to not let him out of his contract, but in spite of his contract with Sega, he could be on it as well. And just so you know, if there are any fans out there of Sonic and Tails R, they're working on Season 2 right now. 10 more episodes. I know that Dan Green has already recorded some things. I know that Ryan Drummond, my cousin, brother, mother, whatever he is, he has recorded some lines as well. I think Jay Getty is involved as well. So there's a lot of big names coming for Season 2. It should be really good.
No, that sounds awesome. So I'm going to pivot a little bit to...
Pivot!
Yes, pivot to just a little game that you did called Evil Dead Hail to the King. It came out on PlayStation 1. You voiced the merchant. So what was it like working on an Evil Dead game?
Really fun. Those were the days back then. And the reason I say that is because I was in my adolescence as far as being a voice actor, and I met the right people at the right time. I met the people who owned the studios. I met the ad execs. I met the casting directors. And then luckily for Hail to the King, it was actually Lonnie Minella, the voice of Rouge, who called me about that one and said, hey, I have this part for you. Can you come in? And that was great because she already knew me. She was in charge of casting, so I didn't have to audition. She just said, meet me at the studio tomorrow at noon, and we're going to do this, this merchant thing. And so I got to do probably 10 different video games, non-Sonic related ones, that do that.
So, were you actually a fan of Evil Dead before going in there?
Yes. My brother and I were into horror films my whole life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love Evil Dead.
So I have to ask that because I'm a horror fan.
Yeah.
And horror game fan. I'm dressed like James from Silent Hill too. What is your favorite horror movie of all time?
The Exorcist.
The original?
The original Exorcist, 1973. That's the year I was born. So, I think it's the best horror movie perhaps ever made. I have other favorites, but the original Exorcist will always be my favorite.
Really?
Yeah.
I respect that wholeheartedly. I think that still holds up as being the best demon possession movie of all time.
Thank you. I agree with you. In fact, in regular life, whenever I get a chance, if someone says, hey, did you know that they're serving chili dogs down at the commissary? Anytime I get a chance to go, I do. And that, of course, is an homage to the demon in The Exorcist.
So when working on Evil Dead Hail to the King, did you get a chance to meet Bruce Campbell?
No.
No!
Similarly, no, I did not get to meet Bruce Campbell, and I would have loved to, then or now. He's still with us, isn't he?
He's
battling some stuff.
He was in Boise on Friday.
Oh, no kidding?
Yeah.
Oh, I just missed him.
Yeah, exactly. We had stuff going on.
I would love to meet that guy. What a legend. He's on the Mount Rushmore of cool horror stuff. But, no, I never got to meet him.
No, that's unfortunate because I hear a lot of stuff like that where famous actors will come do these games and then you interview the voice actors that – separate voice actors, and they just don't get to meet the big star, and it's a shame.
No. And usually, if you're going to hire, as you can imagine, I told you that, the day rate for a rank-and-file voice actor at the time, here comes the demon. That was cool. This ghost just walked in. Hi, sit down.
Dude,
if
that
you
door,
can.
It's crazy.
Thank you. Close the door behind you.
Ever since we
That's
talked about
awesome.
Baruchu-chan,
Yeah,
that door's
right?
been doing that. I'm serious. It's the little people.
That's
Those
awesome.
little ghost people.
Um,
Yes.
so as I told you, the day rate for a rank and file voice actor was $800 back in those days. Now it's more. It's probably like $1,500. But at the time it was $800. As you can imagine, you can't get away with paying celebrities doing voiceovers $800 for a day. They just won't do it. So I actually went into a booth once. In fact, it might have been for the Mummy video game. And somebody had left a list in the booth of celebrities and their minimum prices for working on games. And the first page was A-list actors, the second page was B-list actors, third page C-list actors, and so on. And of course, I'm flipping to the back to be like, who's a D-list actor? Ralph Macchio. Cool. How much does he make? $25,000 for a day for Ralph Macchio? Wow. And of course, the front page is all like $100,000, $150,000. So if you're going to hire Bruce Campbell, I don't know where he's on that list. I'm not going to pretend I know. But he's not $800. He is thousands and thousands of dollars. So when you bring him in, you are going to give him the whole day.
Yeah.
He's going to be very comfortable. You're not going to rush him. You're going to have plates of sandwiches and whatever else he likes around to make him comfortable. And you're not going to bring in anybody else to encroach on his decrees. You're going to give him the whole day to do his Bruce Campbell thing.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we're going to start pivoting. Hold on.
Pivot.
Not what I was trying to get. All right.
A candid? Yeah.
Good
luck.
It's over. Let's start getting people lined up for some questions. How about that? Anyone want to ask some questions?
Anyone?
Oh, there we go. Come on.
There we go. Hello, Alexander Hamilton. Yeah.
So you mentioned the emotives, like the grunts or whatever, the sound of climbing a ladder.
Yeah.
And it's not hiya.
Yeah.
So, what does that look like? Is that just like a list of like lines, or like a list of just scenarios?
It actually is scenarios. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, obviously emotives are hard to write down in English. So sometimes they have the basic vowel shapes or things that they want to hear, but it's mostly situational. So it will say things like Sonic falls off of cliffs and hits the bottom. And you got to go, eh! Something like that. Or, Sonic gets poured into boiling oil, or, Sonic gets a spear through his middle, or whatever it is. They'll tell you what the situation is, and then you, as the actor, are pretty much responsible for coming up with what you think your character would do getting a spear through the middle, or something like that.
And what does Sonic sound like when he gets a spear through the middle?
There goes my chili dog.
Oh, no.
That's awesome.
And then they'll put that in the game. And sometimes they do. Sometimes, you just goof around in the studio, and they end up putting it in the game. There was a game called Zax. Anybody know Zax? Z-A-X? And the lead, Zax, the lead character, which I voiced, is it's like an ogre kind of thing, and it's a battle game, as far as I know. But the funny is that Zax sounded like this. Everything was like this. All right, let's go over there and kill them. And so when we were getting towards the end of our recording day, the producer came in and he said, hey, as soon as this recording session is over, I'm taking everybody to Fuddruckers. And so the next time the mic was turned on, I said, as Zax, let's go to Fuddruckers. And they put it in the game. Didn't ask permission or anything. I think it's like a little Easter egg. Zax does something and he goes, let's go to Fuddruckers. It's kind of cool. What is Fuddruckers? Oh, I miss Fuddruckers. Samesies.
Oh, they're gone, huh?
There's only like 2 dozen left.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah. Oh, they're so good.
Question.
Why don't people do a topping bar? What's up, Levi?
When you tried to apply for the role for Sonic in Sonic X, can you tell the story of that?
The Sonic X roll. I knew someone had to pour salt in my eyes. Thank you.
Oh.
No.
I'm so glad it wasn't me. I did not include that question.
Okay, so this is exactly how it happened. So, 4Kids Entertainment, which owns Sonic X, they bought it with their own hard-earned money from Japan, and they brought it from Japan to New York City, where 4Kids Entertainment is based. And they said, we are going to put this cartoon on television. They contacted Sega, and they said, would you like your official voices of the Sega voices on our cartoon? And Sega said, who is this? no, don't call here ever again. And Sega was just like, no, we're not interested. Because they had a cartoon that was done by Deke back in the early 90s, starring Jaleel White. And they were like, and the point is, oh man, should I pee in the pool? I think I should. Okay, so when we were going to do Sonic Adventure, I'm going to tangent a little bit, and when I ask you what the heck we were talking about, I will get back to that. When we were doing Sonic Adventure, my rep at Sega, his name is Keith Palmer, great guy. He called me one day, and he was like, hey, just want to let you know, we're thinking about doing a cartoon of Sonic to support Sonic Adventure, support the Dreamcast. And I was like, dope. Because, of course, any voice actor in the world, you want your own cartoon or to be the lead in a cartoon. That's the holy grail, right? You want to be Peter Griffin. You want to be, Homer Simpson, whatever it is. And so I was just like, they're going to do a cartoon, and I'm going to be the lead in it. It's going to be a Sonic cartoon, and I get to be in a cartoon. This is going to be so great. And so when Sonic Adventure came out, I was watching the numbers very carefully. And as I told you, on that first day, it made $42 million. And I was just like, yes. I was like, big hit. We're going to make that cartoon. It's going to be great. I waited and waited. 2 weeks went by, and they never called. And so I called up Keith at Sega and said, hey, game's a big hit. When are we doing this cartoon? And he went, we're not doing a cartoon. And I said, what? I said, the game's a big hit. Why are we not doing a cartoon? And he went, ugh. Ryan, did you ever watch cartoons on Saturday morning? I said, of course I did. We all did as kids, I hope. And he was just like, cool. What are cartoons for? You guys were smarter than I was. Because I went, I don't know, something to watch while you eat your cereal on a Saturday morning? And he said, no. Cartoons are commercials to sell products. So if you see a cartoon, that franchise is underperforming, and they put out a cartoon to boost sales of the action figures, the lunchboxes, the t-shirts, etc. Pingus. And so he said to me, the game is selling just fine. We don't need a cartoon. We're not doing a cartoon. So that's when my whole image was shattered about what reality is and what, anyway. My whole Saturday morning routine when I was a kid was just like, oh my gosh, it was all a commercial. Everything was a commercial. It's like you go to commercial, you watch 5 commercials, you go back to the cartoon, and that's a commercial too? Oh, I see. Here's how it works. Here's marketing. Follow the money. I get it. So anyway, getting back to your question. So 4Kids Entertainment bought Sonic X from Japan. And they said to Sega, do you want to put your official voices on it? And Sega said, no. We don't want to do a cartoon because we're selling our stuff just fine. We don't need a cartoon. And they said, you hire whoever you want. 4Kids Entertainment was based in New York City, so they had auditions in New York City for a bunch of New York City actors, including the great Jason Griffith and Lisa Ortiz and all the people that we love and adore. And when I heard that they were going to be casting out of New York, I called 4Kids Entertainment, and I was just like, I'm the official voice. I would love to be on it. And they were like, yeah, we really want New York actors. And I said, I'll move to New York to be on a cartoon. And they were like, maybe. Okay, we'll call you. They never called. So they hired Jason Griffith as the voice of Sonic, and they put him on. Now, Sega never thought that cartoon was going to be anything to write home about. And then it turns out that after being on air for a year, Sonic X was very popular. Anybody who grew up with Sonic in that era, everybody watched Sonic X. It was extremely popular. And that is when Sega said, wow, what are they doing over there? That's a really popular cartoon. I bet we could sell more video games if we had the voices from the cartoon in our video games. And so the next day they fired all of us and they hired the cast of Sonic X to be in the video games. That's how it works. I boo right along with you, but in the entertainment business, you can give yourself 24 hours to mourn any loss that you have, and then you move on. Otherwise, it's just baggage. So yes, that sucked for about a day. And after that, I was like, good for them. I don't know who this Jason kid is, but I hope he can do it. It turns out he's awesome and the nicest guy you've ever met on the planet. If you haven't met Jason Griffith, you should.
It's nice to hear that you have no ill will towards those voice actors.
Oh, no. And in fact, I will say that there are 7 official voices of Sonic now. Yeah? Jaleel White, me, Jason Griffith, Roger Craig Smith, Martin Burke, Devin Mack, Ben Schwartz in the movies. So there are 7 of us now. And every single person in that group that I just mentioned, everyone's totally cool. It's like this brotherhood. There's no competition. There's just like, I was a better Sonic than you. None of that. None of that happens. If you ever read any of that crap on the internet, it's fake. You guys know that half the stuff on the internet is false, right?
Yes.
You guys know that, right? Just making sure you knew that. I like to say that at panels just in case nobody knows.
Yeah.
You guys know when back in the day before this? Sorry, a small story. When back before we had social media, we had this thing called email. Do you guys remember email?
Yes.
And so I would receive emails from all over the world saying, I love Sonic, and blah, 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 blah. And so at one point, and I think it was, I don't remember what year it was a long time ago, I started receiving all these emails from people going, hey man, I'm thinking about you, everything's gonna be okay. And I was like, cool. Next email, I'm praying for you, you're gonna beat this, everything's gonna be fine. Cool. Kept getting emails. Hundreds of emails came in of people wishing me well, saying, I'm going to beat this, and everything's going to be okay. And finally, I reached out to a Sonic friend of mine who had her finger on the pulse of the community, and I said, what is everyone talking about? Why am I getting all these emails? And she said, it says on your Wikipedia page that you have pancreatic cancer. And I said, first question, what is a Wikipedia? She said, okay, sit down, let me explain it to you. So I was like, so anyone can write anything about anything? They can just lie on the internet? On a thing called Wikipedia? She's like, yeah, they can lie anytime they want about anything. So half the stuff you read is lies. Yay.
All right.
Sorry, that took forever. Thank you for the question.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Ryan. I'm Ryan.
Awesome. I'll see you at the meeting.
Yeah. We'll convene.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got introduced from Sonic thanks to the loading simulator that is Sonic 06. Wasn't the greatest intro. We got better.
Yeah.
But anyways, I was just wondering, since I'm a person who doesn't really like the sound of their own voice in recording, I'm wondering, like, when it comes to you, how often would you go back and either listen to your old recordings and/or play games that you were in, Sonic or otherwise?
Not often. Great question. Like I said, I can throw dirt about Sega all day, but one thing they were good at is they always gave us copies of all the games that we worked on. So I have a copy of every game I did for Sega, Sonic and non-Sonic, because I did probably more games that were not Sonic related than I did for Sonic, but Sonic is all anyone ever wants to talk about, so we'll do that. But I do have copies of everything. I can't say I play them religiously, but now that we have this thing called YouTube and you can see anything you want at any time, I will go back and listen to some things. Am I a critic of my own work? Absolutely. We're all human beings. We are all our worst critic. But you also know that we sound different to other people than we do to our own heads. We have different echo chambers in our skulls and things, so we sound different. So you can never, until they get like a perfect recording device, we just don't know what we sound like to other people. But I do listen to things. I am critical of my past work. I wish I could do it better. I wish I could, get in a time machine and be better. But the point is that is how a career goes. There's always a first voiceover job that you do, and there's a last voiceover job that you do. And there's hopefully a whole bunch of them in between the first one and the last one. And in theory, you should get better as you go along. So the trick is fight through that stuff. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Voiceover world and entertainment in general is like playing a slot machine. You keep putting money in, you keep pulling the handle, things keep popping up. Occasionally, you'll win a tiny little jackpot. We'll get you just enough money to keep playing. And you keep putting that money back into it, keep putting that time back into it. Mathematically, at some point, you're going to hit a jackpot. It's not a matter of when, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So just keep doing it. Don't quit. I've had so many people in my life, I thought, man, they're talented. And they moved to a big city, they gave it a year or two, and they were like, nah, it's not happening for me. And now they sell insurance. And I'm just like, man, you just gave up. The people who win in entertainment are the people who never stop. They don't give up. The great Michael Shurtleff says in his book Audition, he says, if you can do anything else besides acting, do that. Because it's a tough business, and there's not a lot of reward in it. But if acting is the only thing that fulfills your heart and scratches that itch, then be an actor. Yeah. So just never stop. Fight through that thing. Even if you do a crazy voice,
Like this one, and you talk nasally and high all day, sometimes people like to listen to that. I don't know. It seems that way anyway.
so even if you don't like your own voice, like a lot of people will like it. You don't have to. It's your own voice. I am sick of hearing myself talk at the end of one of these days. I talk all day in that showroom, and by the time I get back to the hotel, I'm just like, I'm not talking for the rest of the night because I just can't stand it anymore. But just keep doing it. Something will happen. I can't say you'll be rich and famous because that's only for this many people. But you will have successes along the way that will make you go, oh, that was worth it. I'm glad I didn't give up last year.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, next question.
Hi. Well, there we go. Hi. I was going to say, you kind of answered my question already, but to a new question, since you've been so, I guess, crucial in making the character of Sonic and how he's been going on from when you voiced him into now, are there any things that you've seen that you like that has been added to his character, or things that you don't like that has been added to his character?
Absolutely. Great question. Yeah, I actually really I mentioned that there are 7 official voices now, and I've seen my fair share of fan projects. I have a 15-year-old son who watches all the Sonic media online, and he's like, Dad, you have to watch this. It's hilarious. It's called Snapcube. And I go, okay, I'm going to watch that. And then he's like, don't worry about that. That's not funny at all. So he's kind of my filter for that sort of thing. So I've heard a lot of Sonic impressions over the years, and I've heard the official Sonic voices too. And in general, I really like it. I like the fact that you can listen to all 7 official voices, and you know it's Sonic, undeniably Sonic, but you also know who it is. Like as soon as you listen to them, you go, that's Jason Griffith. That's Ben Schwartz. Yep, there's Devin Mack. Yeah. So everyone's doing Sonic, but everyone has their own little flavor of that, and I think that is awesome. I think that's cool. I really like that. What I don't care for, I'm being recorded, aren't I?
Yes, I can cut it.
What I don't care for is I don't care for the current direction that Sega is taking it. And I'm going to blame Sega for that because Roger Craig Smith has said publicly in interviews that he doesn't quite get what they're doing either. But Sega is doing this new thing where Sonic is maturing, getting older. The voice is not a teenager voice anymore. And like I just said, just like an hour ago to somebody, I'm like, Elmo's been 2 years old for 30 years. Bart Simpson has been in the 4th grade for 40 years. You don't have to age a hedgehog. He's a cartoon. He can be the same dude as long as you want. Mickey Mouse doesn't have a beard now. Well, he's been around 100 years. He must have gray mouse hairs. No, it's Mickey Mouse, right? So I don't know what they're doing. I don't care for it. I don't get it. I hope there's a big payoff at some point. I hope at one point we go, oh, that's why Sega told him, slow it down, get lower. It's like, to me, it doesn't sound like Sonic anymore. But that's the way they want it. They are in charge. You got to do what they say. I don't get it. I don't like it. But hopefully at some point we go, okay, I get it now. That was pretty cool, actually. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's just a bad idea. But that's my opinion.
So this will be the last question.
Sorry.
If anyone else has any questions, make sure you get to his booth.
Yeah.
You can ask it there.
I'll be here all till 5 o'clock, so come to my table and we'll chat.
All right. So go ahead.
Hi.
Hi.
So I was just curious on what you would recommend for a beginner voice actor. What would you recommend, where to start at or etc.?
Like starting out as a voice actor, what's my advice? I'm glad you asked because there are a lot of people who want to be voice actors, and I've been saying this for years and I still stand by it. Take acting classes. Not just, most people they toy around with their voice, or they're told by their peers or their friends, hey, you can do a lot of cool voices, and they go, oh, I should be a voice actor. Or they feel like they can do impressions, or they feel like they can do accents, and they think that qualifies them as if I can do a bunch of different voices, that qualifies me as being a candidate for being a good voice actor. Now, while that is true, because every company that hires a voice actor is concerned about money, even the big bad Sega, they're concerned about money too. So if you have 10 characters and you have to hire 10 actors to do 10 characters, you have to pay 10 people. If you get 2 people that can do 5 voices each, you've only paid 2 people and you still have 10 characters. So variety of voices is important. Being able to do different things is important. But the thing that's super important is that video games are like movies now. They didn't used to be that way. Like when we started out, we had these little cut scenes and things. Now you control things. Like the example I was just using earlier is like The Walking Dead. If you play that video game, it's like playing the television series. It's so many voice files. And so what casting directors are looking for are people who can act and can do voices, not people who do a bunch of voices and can probably act. They want actors first who can do voices. So theater classes, getting involved in community theater, putting on theater at your school if you go to school, things like that. Doing theater teaches you how to perform a script and make it sound like real life. And that is the goal. They want you to take a script and they want you to perform it as if you are performing it for the first time and it's happening right now. The stakes are super high and it's important to you as a human being that you say these words to this person for this reason. They want all that to be clear because that's what makes a good video game. That's what gets you into a video game where you get so invested you forget you're actually playing a video game, like you're really invested in it. Good acting, good scripts, good stories told well by human beings, no AI.
Yes.
Those things. Thank you. I'm glad we all agree on that. But yes, if you want to get into acting, voice acting, notice that even though it's the second thing in the word, voice acting, acting comes first. They should call it acting with the voice. That's what they should call it. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Give us all of your pluggables, socials, everything if you can.
Oh, I'm not on social media that much, but if you want to go on Twitter, I am at Ryan the Drummond. My middle name is the, T-H-E. If you go on Instagram, my handle is at Ryan Sonic Drummond, where my middle name is Sonic. So it's always my name with a different word in the middle, the for Twitter, Sonic for Instagram. And yes, there are imposters out there that claim they are me. Look for the blue check.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they might tell you some crazy stuff and tell you to send them money or something.
And that they have pancreatic cancer.
Yes, exactly. That whole cancer thing again. So, yeah, it would be a pleasure to connect with all of you on social media. I admit I am of the generation where I don't really care about it, but I am on there every now and then. So if you want to shoot me a DM or follow me, that's great. Don't expect too much on the social media except where I'm going to be next. So if you were on there, you knew I would be here. Next weekend, I'm going to be in San Antonio, Texas. After that, you'll have to look. I don't even know where I'm going to be after that.
All right.
That's what
Give
social
him
media
a
does.
round of applause.
Thanks, everybody.
Come on, he's Sonic!
Thank you, guys. Nice to meet you.